Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Hopefully we are live once again. This is the second time I've actually been live today, but this time it is the usual Sunday night live on the channel. If there is anyone there, please say hello. Let me know if you can hear me. Make sure everything is working as it should be. Now, this is the usual Sunday night live stream, and hopefully everything is going out. Oh, good evening. How are you doing? Congratulations, my friend, on the subs count. For those who haven't seen, Droning On has reached another milestone. He's heading towards tripling my subscribers now rather than just doubling it. But he is getting there, so he's doing outstanding. It's as simple as that. So anyway, it is another Sunday evening, and yes, it has been a busy man. It really has been a very busy day. I've spent the morning crawling through my loft space, putting in some more wiring for my loft conversion. The afternoon, I went for a Costa coffee with my daughter, and this evening, I got to have a chat with Ian earlier, which was a bit unexpected. We've been planning it for a few weeks, but I never really got it going properly. And tonight, then, is the Sunday night live stream. So it is fantastic to see 9 of you already. That's a good start. That is a good start. So yes, is it the Swede, the guy from Sweden? Yes, it's the guy from Sweden. He's actually British, so we won't hold the fact he's in Sweden against him. Don't worry. Good evening, Phil. How are you, my friend? I hope you are well. Good evening, Steve. Well, 100 Steve B, by the way. It's quality. It's quality. Well, and I've got neither. So don't worry. You're winning on both counts on that side of things. So for me tonight, hopefully things are sounding okay. There are some changes again on the mic setup. As you can see, things have improved a lot. There's something new. There's a big long thing sticking out the back of the microphone. It's the only big long thing that's in my life. I can tell you that. However, the audio now, we have a FET lifter involved. So not only are we on the Rode mic, we've got the Rode mic going into, well, the pod mic from Rode going into the PreSonus 24C, and I've had to add a FET lifter in just to bring the audio level up slightly. So it behaves less like a dynamic microphone and now more like, it feels like it's in the way. Yeah, this is the problem, actually. Try it. It's getting used to having a mic. That's the problem. It's a funny thing to get used to. It's the setup, it's the behavior. Sounding lovely, just move it aside a little, feels like it's in the way. That is the problem, and I do need to tune it a bit more. The equipment is where it needs to be now. We just need a fat lifter. It's not a fat lifter. Clip your mic to your shelf on the right. You have it coming. Yeah, the shelf won't hold it, unfortunately, but I do like the idea. I do get your drift. Yeah, clip it onto something there with a bit more structure. Now, this is the Rode PSA 1, and honestly, right, whatever you bolt this to, it needs to be strong because it will rip it off. This arm is got such a heavy spring in it, and it needs it because this microphone weighs an absolute ton. It really does. It's very good, but yeah, it does need to come down and it won't pick up noise from the desk. So on this one, it's not actually attached to this desk. It's attached to that bit there, which isn't attached to this. But I do need to play around a little bit. But hopefully the audio levels are pretty good. New shelf. I think it's a new structure. That's the problem. It's going to need, it's not just a shelf. In fact, I've got a video coming out about this mic and everything. There's 2 videos, actually. There's a video coming out about the FET lifter, FET lifter. And the reason it's called a FET lifter, because it was primarily designed for guitars and things like that. And it's basically a zero noise 25 dB gain amplifier, phantom power, so it runs off there. And there's a video coming of this, and I actually take the FET lifter apart and show you guys what it's like inside as well, because I've not seen anyone else strip one down. And for 60 quid, there is not a lot in it, I can tell you that. £62 exactly. So anyway, concrete wall, rock solid. Yeah, it really is. It's a very good stand. Anyway, you got me talking about microphones again. Naughty. You. Ooh, see, he's done it. He did it on purpose. He sidetracked me. He really did. Nice try. Nice try. Anyway, tonight, I want to talk about a couple of things, actually, but 2 main ones. The first thing we're going to talk about is a little bit about the Astro from Freefly, because it's quite an interesting product. And the reason I say that is there's multiple things going on with this release all at the same time, which have all come together. And I spoke a bit about it on a video, and actually an audio. I did a podcast this week, random as you like, but yes, I did a podcast. And we'll talk a bit just about the interesting things coming together in that, because it is potentially the first time we have seen an aircraft that will compete with the Inspire 2. And whilst we have seen aircrafts, Skydio X2, the Parrot Anafi USA, all of these drones which are really squarely aimed at enterprise and squarely heading on for the Mavic 2 Enterprise Dual and the thermal models and things like that, the Astro is probably the first drone which I would say could really give DJI a run for the money on the on the Inspire 2, because the Inspire 2 sits in a bit of an unusual position that there is no competition for it. And whilst people have said, okay, you have the if they, are we going to really say Unique still exist? But you got the Unique H, but wasn't an Inspire 2. You did have one or two other companies with MFT mount cameras, but nothing as capable as the Inspire 2. And it's sat on its own for quite a long time. And at the moment, you can't even buy it. And that raises some question marks of where the future is for it and things like that. But this new aircraft does potentially open some doors to have a proper smaller cine platform. Now, what I will do is throw into it first, though, is price-wise, no. You are not going to be competing with DJI in a million years on price, even at this aircraft. But if you were looking for a fairly decent cine unit, which isn't like an Alta 8 or Alta X or something that big, this new drone could be worth looking at. We're also going to talk a little bit about OSDs, and the reason I want to talk about this, and it isn't actually anything to do with the Vector. I've done a couple of videos on the Vector, and it's nothing to do with that. But this subject blew up this week on the Ardupilot forum about a new flight controller has been released, and why it hasn't got an OSD, and it blew very much up into why don't Ardupilot flight controllers have OSD? Because if we talk about Betaflight, iNav, the Vector, those are the ones. They all had this OSD chip on board, or they had the capability. Some models did. Yet within Ardupilot, there's nothing. And if you want an OSD, you've got to attach a Minim, or you've got to use an external device. So we'll just talk a little bit about it, because it was quite an interesting conversation. And there is a couple of other little things. There's an image. Ash put out a video on it. Is this the Phantom 5? Honestly, don't know on this one. I don't really know what to make of that image at all. Good evening, Sasha. Good evening, Mark. Hope you are well. Great to see you in the comments, guys. And we're going to talk a bit about that DJI image, because it's a bit strange. And 80% of me is saying it's wrong. Nothing about it makes sense. The timing, but there is a little bit of me that is thinking there might be something in this. Now, there are various things I know about, and there are various things I don't know about. And I will spell the simple rule like this. If I talk about something, I'm not under NDA for it. That's the basic rule, as those of us in this type of industry know. I'm always very careful not to speculate on complete nonsense. But this one is a little bit interesting, and there's just a little bit of me that thinks there might be something in this. But the timing is all wrong. I know DJI very well. So much so, for a period of time, I helped run their Facebook groups. That's how much I've known DJI over the years. So, I have had some relationships with various members of DJI staff, and what I will say is this. Having an image this early for that product makes zero sense. And I mean no sense at all. But let's see. We'll talk about it in a minute. As always, guys, it is fantastic to see you all in the chat. Stevie B, Sasha, Ash, Mark, Type. I'm just going up the list, checking I've got everyone. it is fantastic for you guys to join me on a Sunday. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get the laptop up. We're going to hop it up. And let's go and talk about the Astro, because it's quite interesting. So we've got that up. Is that still working? Yes, it is. Sorry, I had a feeling it stopped working then. Okay, so to talk first of all about the Astro. Now, if you don't know, the Astro is a new drone released by Freefly Systems. They've been around for a really long time. Built models such as the Alta, Alta X, very well known in the cine drone industry. Not new, been around quite a long time. Been building some very nice aircraft. However, their aircraft have not really been, from a technical level, up there with many of the others. You can say that, still some of the models are analog FPV, and, they weren't as integrated as many of the other company out there. It was, the easiest term to use was, in the early days, it was very much a custom build that could be any of us who were involved could build, and then they got a bit more tech and the camera integration and stuff, but it wasn't great. However, the big change with the Astro is this is the first time a number of custom integrations that they've done with partners have come together. Now, the first one of them partners is Arterion Systems. Now, Arterion, it's a bit of a complex thing to explain who Arterion are, but the reality is they are involved with PX4. The original guy who developed the Pixhawk Open Standard is one of the CEOs of Arterion. It's all part of that very messy thing with Ardupilot, PX4, drone code, Linux. I'm not going to get into that, but Arterion are the company who are involved now with PX4 Enterprise, and they are sort of a commercial element of it. And they make a new autopilot system, and it's not just the autopilot. It's a whole thing called the Node. And if I just scroll down to it, the Sky Node. And the Astro is the first commercial drone that I've seen to use this. I haven't seen any other off-the-shelf product to actually use this system. And whilst there's been a lot of noise from Arterion over the last couple of months of commercial entities using it, this is the first one I've seen that you or I would be able to buy if we had enough money in our pockets. So that is the very first interesting bit. Now, it is a custom version of the Sky Node done by them, and it's also got that Linux onboard computer. It is running PX4 Enterprise, which is the paid for version, which is closed source somewhat, and that's the first piece of it. Now, alongside using the Sky Node, it's using HearLink from CubePilot for its radio system. Now, previous models of autopilot in these drones by Freefly have actually been the Cube. They were flying the Cube Black, the Cube Yellow, and I think they were flying a Cube Orange maybe in some of them as well. I think the Alta X is using a Cube Yellow off the top of my head. But they've moved away from that for the Sky Node system, and the reason for that is probably less to do with performance of the autopilot and more towards the partnerships with this aircraft's been made with, because it's clear there's been a number of partnerships involved, but it's still using the HearLink. Alongside that, they are using the new Sony SDK for camera integration. Now, this is actually quite a big thing, and let me just get down to it. And this is, and we'll talk about the battery in a sec, because that's quite cool. But it's this little bit here, okay, which is the camera integration with Sony. Now, all of the camera manufacturers over the years have been quite reluctant to fully open up their cameras to external control. Whilst Panasonic have done it, Sony have done it, Canon in some ways, there's a reason why many of the handheld gimbals, the Ronin S, Ronin SC, the Zinus, all of these, have had a bit of trouble controlling these cameras because there hasn't been an open standard. There's nothing like Mavlink on all of these cameras, not CAN bus. So the manufacturers are having to sort of get around it. But what that means is you don't get that deep level of integration that we've come to expect from DJI, where you can change all of the frame weights, you can adjust the shutter, the aperture, everything you would expect. And that comes from the vertical integration DJI have. They integrate their system fully from the ground up. And it's one of the reasons that DJI went down the custom camera route. And actually, it's a fundamental reason 3DR got screwed with GoPro when GoPro stopped them having access to the bus on the side of the GoPro Hero. What model was it? 4? When the Solo come out. You know, and this is it. However, the Astro is one of the first drones to use that new Sony SDK. And that means that you're going to have that very high level of integrated control in the system that you're used to seeing with DJI. And it's not going to be as simple as just saying, you know, start, stop, record, change from stills to film. You should be able to do all of this stuff like shutter speed, aperture, ISO, and all of that stuff that not a high-end photographer, but you would expect as we get on all of the DJI ready-to-fly models. Because if you look at much of the industry, DJI has been really pushing ahead with that side of things. You know, you have all control, and we've come to expect it. In fact, when we don't get it on aircraft like the Mavic Mini, where you don't get RAW or JPEG and RAW and stuff like that in the early days, everyone kicks up a holy stink because they want, you know, where's my camera controls? Where's my features? So it's been an area that DJI have excelled in, but many others have struggled. And this is the real interesting thing about the Astro, is that you've got a number of partnerships have come together to build this product. You've got Arterion, you've got Sony, PX4, part of Enterprise. You've also got U-Blocks and FLIR, Maxenter, a couple of others as well. So this drone is, to a point, getting as close to fully integrated as we've seen from any manufacturer for a drone of this size. Now, I did see earlier, you know, what Type E. Good evening, Bruce. Nice to see you, by the way. What are the price of such a drone? Well, in dollars, a basic aircraft for the Astro is going to be $8,000. The basic aircraft with remote control and batteries is $10,000, and they are going to ship a version of it with the Sony A7S3, or no, sorry, A7R4, and that's going to be $15,000. Now, if we talk about the spec and the size of the aircraft, it's a 900mm craft, or 917. For the most part, unfolded without props, 917. So it's a quad, 917mm unfolded, folds down to 508. So, but that's not important. So size-wise, just under a meter. With props, it's 1.4 meters. So it's not a small aircraft. It is very, very large indeed. It's got, what size props? 21-inch props. It's using a 6S battery, and it's using an all-new in-house smart battery. And I'll jump back to that in a minute because there's something I like about that. And it's developed by them. They're going to have 2 sizes of battery available, and it's using CAN bus for communication. And they're using open CAN bus, and they're also saying that you will be able to use their batteries with other equipment out there as well. No, it's not a small machine, Mark. Not a small indeed. It weighs bare frame aircraft, 3,166 grams. Maximum payload 1,500, but all up weight is over 8 kilos. So it's a lump. If you take into account an Inspire, it's about 3.5 kilos. It's a big lump. It's a big lump indeed. Now, as you can see on the flight controller, they're saying the Arterion Enterprise PX4 alongside a Freefly customized Skynode. It's got built-in LTE using Hearlink, and it's also RTK compatible out the box as well, ready to go. Now, as I did say, let me click on the overview. They have got this all-new smart battery, and they've added something that I really like here, and I want to see this in action, actually. Let me just find it. Scrolling down. There's quite a lot. So you can see there's the RTK. Yeah, I suspect there is investment here, Bruce. I would suspect there's investment. I can't confirm it. That's purely speculation on my part, or at least money towards the development. And I'll talk about that actually specifically because it does raise an interesting point. Now, here's the new smart battery, and they're using the new 2170 round lithium ion pack. So they're using the round cells in this, which is quite interesting. Unusual for a drone battery. Traditionally, everyone's using the flat packs, apart from in very specific, you know, like the Mavic Mini and things like that. there is an OLED screen on it, as Ash has just spotted. Now, I like the fact you've got a screen to see key data. The question is, though, the longevity of the battery, as Ash has quite rightly come out. And the fact it is lithium ion is interesting as well. It will be interesting to see on these batteries what the situation is, because if they are using those cells, potentially these packs should be able to be manufactured fairly simple as well. So thus cutting down on the necessity to bin them. SL series battery with OLED screen, but yeah, and it's using open CAN. Now, interesting, that connector looks really similar to what DJI have on the Inspire 2 and the M200 series as well. Very similar indeed. Yes, my understanding is there's a dual ops option, Mark, but I'm not 100% sure. That there's a little bit of unknown around some of this stuff at the moment. Now, Bruce did raise an interesting point when you say about partners. Okay, you know, this is the list of partners that are, you know, this drone's been made in partnership with. So we have Arterion, Sony, PX4 Autopilot. Now, my take on this would be that either it's investment, you know, building an aircraft like this with this much investment won't come cheap. Custom batteries, custom autopilot. They've either put in a lot of their own work, or there are some, you know, I would think Arterion have supported them through the autopilot, Sony through the SDK. It's quite interesting. Sony are finally taking notice of the drone industry as well. You know, up till now, all of the camera manufacturers really haven't cared about drones at all, but Sony are listed as a partner here, and that is quite interesting. Now, as I said, that Pro Pack with the Sony is going to be like $15,000, so it's certainly not in the same money situation as Inspire 2. You know, if you take an Inspire 2 with the X7 and all the licenses, 8,000-9,000 max, whereas, you know, this is double, nearly double that, I should say. But it is interesting is how they are going to have this develop in the future, and the fact that there has been some quite big companies sticking their name next to this as well. It is interesting. It is very interesting indeed. So that is the new Astro. It you know, up front, it looks a decent aircraft. You know, very interesting. It's not smaller. You know, 1,400 corner to corner. It's a big old lump. It's a big old lump indeed. And you can see that there's two packs on the top. But very much Freefly's design when you see it. You know, what we used to see from Freefly systems. Very much, you know, that bent arm shape that they are somewhat known for as well. But yeah, overall, pretty good indeed. Price wise, just looking at the comments, guys. Okay, so good evening, Gary. I hope you are safe and well, my friend. Love Samsung or Sony have a crack at developing a drone. Yeah, Ash, it's interesting, isn't it? Because all of the camera manufacturers have just gone, no, we're not interested. We're really not interested. I think the liability becomes a real big problem for these guys. A real big problem. $15,000. Yeah, I tend to do the dollar for pound conversion when it comes to drones. If it's $15,000, it's going to be 15,000 quid. Probably 12 to 13, I'm expected in the UK. Now, you can't order it. You can only reserve it at the moment. If you're interested in talking to them, it is available. If I click on the reserve for it, they ask some details. What is your first and last name? When you try to order one. But it's a very interesting product. And, you know, it's the first time I've seen someone with something which I think is as integrated potentially as DJI in that thing. Vaporware, well, it launched this week, and it had a bit of a weird launch because someone actually published it last week and then withdrew their article, which I thought was interesting. I actually saw all the specs for this last week, and I was like, where's it gone? It hasn't launched yet. But it's interesting. there is a lot of politics on this side of things, because this is very much being supported by the PX4 Enterprise Arterian side of things, and I don't know anyone there. As far as I'm aware, they're making decent products. They're certainly not at the moment for the self builds like the Cube and things like that, but it is an open source autopilot again, so it's going to be interesting to see how that gets on. Now I'm just going to have a drink, guys, for a second while you guys talk. If there's any questions on the good evening, Jeff Taylor. Welcome to the stream, my friend. I hope you are well. Be right back. Okay, Bruce, we'll have to pause now until Bruce comes back. There's a new feature this week as well. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I've been told that YouTube now says I can pin comments. Can we? Let's split it 10 ways. I think we're going to... Oh, yeah, you can pin messages now. Put user in timeout. Can you see that? We should do that to Bruce, shouldn't we? Look at that. You can pin messages now. You can pin messages. That's very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Come back live. You see... Yeah, you can. That's a nice feature, that. That is a very nice feature. Split it to, so I've pinned that to the top. See, look at that. That's very cool. There's not enough people on my live stream to need a mod. There's a simple reality. See, look, you can pin to the top. That's very cool. That is cool. I like that. We like that indeed. That's very good. Okay. So that's the Astro. That's pretty much it. So I'm going to keep away from the politics of this one because there is a lot of politics around it. Yeah, interesting drone. Interesting drone is indeed. We are grown-ups. You are fantastic, every single one of you. No moderation required, except for Bruce. Bruce needs constant moderation. Or is it constant medication? I can't quite remember. We should be constantly medicated. That's probably what I should be saying. Now, the next thing, I'm just lining this up. And again, guys, if there are any comments on the Astro or anything you think, please do let me know. Astro Tiff. Yes. In fact, Solo was the original lawnmower drone because when you had a problem with the Solo, it would flip upside down and skate around. I'd love to be able to find that video again. I'm sure it was KF's, Kevin Flinch's. I'm sure it was KF's, but I can't remember. Right. The next thing we're going to talk about is this new autopilot, and it's called the Mr. Robotics, or MRO, if you don't know who they are, and it's a new flight controller called the Pixracer Pro. Now, it's specifically designed for Ardupilot, PX4, all of them. Now, the autopilot itself isn't particularly interesting. The conversation it sparked is very interesting. Well, it is to me. You guys will probably have other thoughts on that. Where's the OSD? Yes, Bruce, that is the question. Now, we should just to quickly talk about it. It is a new version of the Pixracer called the Pixracer Pro. It is using the STM32H7, so it's designed for like a race drone application. Bruce, I'll come on to the price in a minute. Yes, I'm getting to that because that's part of the argument. It's got 2 meg of flash, 1 meg of RAM. In all essence, right, it's a Cube Orange. Okay, that's the easiest way to do it with no onboard vibration isolation, designed for small fixed wing applications. Now, the first point, and Bruce said it before I had a chance to even go there, is the price. Okay, is $189. Now, MRO makes some fantastic gear. Okay, I'm not for 1 minute gonna pretend they don't. Okay, they make some absolutely outstanding gear indeed. I wrote a quite big post about this autopilot, which I didn't post because it would probably have been seen as me having a dig. And my point of this was around, first of all, the price. because $189 for an autopilot, which is generally designed for race stroke small light fixed wings applications, is a hard sell. Let's be honest. Okay. Now, if we compare this to other autopilots from support Betaflight, there are a bucket full for $30-40. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're the same quality as the Pixracer Pro. They're probably not. But the problem is the law of diminishing returns. And what you have to say to yourself is, this is an autopilot which is designed for the smallest application, racing drones, small stuff, not necessarily racing, but small drones like that. Yet it's $189. There is no onboard vibration isolation, and it is a really hard sell. Now, yes, there are many other autopilots out there that cost similar amounts, if not more. The Cube is over £200 right now. That's to be accepted. The CUAV is over £200 right now. That's to be expected. But, pardon me, but this is heading for the same issue that this faced and we spoke about last week, which is, how do you incentivize a community to spend that much on an autopilot when you can get much cheaper models? And this is the problem with this. And it is, it's got a great spec, an absolutely fantastic specification. It really does. It's a cube orange for the most part, or CUAV Vision X7. Ignore the sensors. Some of the sensors are slightly different. But for all intents and purposes, it's a great autopilot. But the market this autopilot is aimed at is small flying wings, FPV, that kind of market. And I just don't think you can charge $189 for it and sell enough of them to make it worth it. Now, the problem is this market is a race to the bottom right now. And this is priced at this price without there being any software development either. If you take into account that, what I said last week was these guys, Eagle Tree, were trying to make a custom autopilot, write all of their software, and do all of that for about, I can't remember how much the Vector was. It wasn't 189 quid. And that was everything. This autopilot is just hardware because it's relying on an open source flight stack. There's no development of software required for it. Yes, it should be added that MRO do contribute to Ardupilot, and I'm not saying they don't. That's not the point I'm making here. Okay? I'm not saying that MRO are using, free software and they're not contributing. That's not the point I make. The point I'm making is they're not largely paying for the development. They might be contributing, but they're not paying for the overall development. So you have an autopilot here designed for small fixed wings and race applications, which is costing $189. And as Ash has said, it's nearly £250 in the UK, which is huge money. Huge money. Now, setting that aside, this opened up a very large debate on OSDs. And why is it the case that for $30 you can get an autopilot from Banggood? Okay, here's another one. If we just look, an autopilot. This isn't $30, by the way. This one's a bit more, but this is the Brain FPV Radix. I have one of these. That's what's in my DJI FPV aircraft. It's just I can't remember how much the Radix is. It's not the cheapest by any means, but it's certainly not the most expensive out there. I think it's like $60, $70. Let's just have a look. $54. So we've got a Brain Radix, $54. Which has a built-in OSD. And I can't remember what chipset they're using in the Radix. Let's just have a look. It's been a while. I can't actually remember what they were using. They were using software for the OSD. Oh yeah, F4. No, still using STM32 F4. So they're still using STM32 F4. So whilst you can get for $54 an autopilot that has built-in OSD, designed to be used with Betaflight, iNav, and all of them, for $189, you're getting an autopilot with no OSD at all. And this isn't something specific to just MRO. No Ardupilot autopilots have OSD. So there's no custom OSD like we're used to in Betaflight, where you can drag the stuff around. And it really did open up the question of why is it that there is no OSD in Ardupilot? And it caused quite the argument on Facebook, this. And it was quite interesting. And every time I've gone to make a comment, I thought I'm going to sit on the side because I'll say something people won't like. And I don't know what your guys' thoughts on this are, and please do tell me. Put them in the comments. I'll be interested to know, because I do know a lot of you guys use Ardupilot a lot. You know, we have a great Ardupilot following on this channel, and I love to hear what you guys say as well. And for me, it's because, for the most part, Ardupilot has been very much used in commercial applications or custom applications, not just FPV flying for the sake of it. And for the guys who did want to do FPV flying, they just attached a minimum OSD, which was like $8 or $10, and they were happy with it. But it does open the question of, why have we not seen a development of an OSD system within Ardupilot? And it's interesting. It's very interesting that this is one area that Ardupilot and PX4's in exactly the same boat, that there's been no OSD about. So it is interesting that you've got this Betaflight and iNav direction, all with that built-in OSD. And you've got Ardupilot, which has gone very much down the road of telemetry data being available within your radio. So you have FrSky, S port hookup, F port hookup. I can't remember what it's called now, actually. Is it S port? I think it's S port hookup. So you could get on your Taranis all of your telemetry data called out. You could fly long range FPV, but I think the Ardupilot people and the users very much went that way rather than the other way. All went a minim, and it was enough, and people were happy. And I use telemetry, never fly FPV. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? And it's very much the attitude of one community versus the other. Now, the question is it something Ardupilot really should consider? Is it too late? Because the reality is we're now in the digital FPV world where none of this matters. You know, I directly worked with Alex to get FPV support for the digital FPV system in Ardupilot before he bought a kit, because the Ardupilot team have now supported him by purchasing a digital FPV kit. I sent him my digital FPV gear from DJI. I sent him my own one. I posted it to Italy. Alex sent it over there. Alex had it for a week, about 3 weeks, I think Alex had it for, and that allowed him to get all the bare bones done. And I did that because I felt it was the right thing to do to get this system supported for the community. I wanted the support in Ardupilot. I had a system. I sent it to them. That was it. You know, I couldn't let them keep it, unfortunately, because I couldn't afford another one. So it is interesting that they've gone down this road. And it is interesting that you've got this whole argument blowing up on Facebook about it. You've got this, should Ardupilot have OSD? Why hasn't it got it? Why is this autopilot £189? £250? So I don't know. For me, as I said, I think it's very much that the communities have gone different ways. Stevie B extra. There's also some benefits to integrate OSD, more data directly available from the FC. Yes, there are some big benefits. You know, if you look at the amount of data in the Betaflight and iNav OSD, it does smash all of the others out the window. It really does. It's so much more. Stevie 100 Steve B. I use minimum OSD for ages, works, but just had the wiring clutter. Yeah, that's the problem. You know, and we've not even seen anyone build an autopilot with a minim that can slit on the top. It would be easy to do. You know, this just seems to have been no call for this in Ardupilot at all. It just doesn't seem to be there. Now, these guys on the Facebook are saying, I won't buy these autopilots because they don't have OSD. And I do wonder how many people are out there. Now, Philip, Cube Pilot, who makes the Cube orange, Philip came out and said, if I add an OSD in, I'm going to increase the price and sell less autopilots. So why would I do it? Why would I add something that 95, 96, 97% of the user base just don't want? But yeah, it's an interesting one. It really, really is an interesting one. But it is a new autopilot. It is available. It is very expensive. And there's no getting away from that. I wish I could say otherwise. I wish I could say it wasn't so dear. But it is extremely expensive. If it had been about $100, I think I'd have gone okay. I get it, 110 maybe, but that's a lot of money. That is an awful lot of money for an autopilot. But if you are looking for a high quality autopilot, and there's no question, MRO make high quality gear. It is out there. So, and if you did want to support a partner, they're about the only one. Look at the bill of it's just not worth it. No, I agree, Bruce. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. I just think it's very hard to justify on that. If you take something like the Cube, you can justify the overall cost based on the type of application it's designed for, the carrier board, all of that other stuff. Whereas I just think on a small autopilot, it's really hard. If we just go to unmanned tech in I don't there's no point me going to Ben. Ben doesn't do a lot of FPV stuff, but unmanned tech does. Factory let's have a look. Flight stacks and towers. If you look at the flight stacks, right? No, Gary, it doesn't have a built-in ESC. The T-motor flight stack. The T-motor flight stack, which is and 4-in-1 ESC is 80 quid in the UK, and that's by T-motor. Hollybro F7. Mamba flight stack, what's that? 65. And that's with an ESC. If we look at even the most expensive autopilots for Betaflight, Clean Flight, Betaflight, if we just sort by the price highest to low, just to see what the most expensive one is. The most expensive one is £83. And that's T-motor again. So when you've got an industry at this level, I just don't know how you could bring out an autopilot designed for this kind of application at that price. I just don't know. I think there needs to be a lot more support, across the board for Ardupilot, I think, on some of these controllers, because there isn't. If we just go to drone parts and autopilots again, and if we just look at Pixhawk PX4, just have a look what the highest expensive ones is in here. This will be the Cube or something like that, or the Dundral. Okay, so you got the big ones, which is the Dundral, and then we're heading down. Look, Pixhawk Mini, 95 quid. Pixhawk Mini 4, 120 quid. I'm just looking at the small ones, look, the H743 Wing. That's a great controller. Absolute great controller. H7 again. H7 CPU on that autopilot for 54 quid delivered. So I'm not having to go at MRO. But I do think it's too expensive. I really do. And I know they're a small independent manufacturer based in the US as well. It should be added. They are a US based manufacturer. It's not made in China. So that is worth mentioning. That does have an impact on cost. That does have a large impact on cost. So that is worth taking into account as well. But it's a hard one to swallow at that money. It really is. It really is. Okay, so if there's any questions on that one, guys, please do put them in the comments. Just catching up. I have a gold cube. I have a gold cube. Yes, I do have a gold cube. A743 will kill most Pixracers. Yeah, and it's an interest, but just look at the price. The 743, right? So let's just look. 743, STM32, H743 VIC6. It's got, it's got everything you ever need. It's got absolutely everything you ever need. It really does. But it'd be interesting to see it. I like looking at autopilots, so I would like to see it. It would be one I'd like to there are going to be some people who want it in certain applications, very small, expensive aircraft want it on board. I'm not saying they won't, but it's just a bit of a strange release, let's just say. Yes, if you don't know the name, made in Mexico, I thought still. I believe it's USA, Gar. What if I start looking at me? Yes, thank you, Bruce. Just reading down the comments. Gonna have another drink. I'm beginning to lose my voice today. This is the second live stream I've done. I didn't expect Ian's one to go for an hour and 45 minutes. I don't think we covered a half of what we were meant to. We just ended up talking. Thank you for the creepy image, Bruce. I do appreciate it. Oh, let's get that message off my phone. Okay, now I need to find this image, and probably the best place to find this image. I'm sure there's a website here I can find. Let me just sign in. Just trying to find it. Did you see that meme which was posted today? No, I've not really been online much today, Bruce. I will be honest. I've not. No, I've not. I haven't had a chance. Let me just. Oh, do you know why? Why can't I find it? I thought there would be a website. I tweeted it. Oh, we'll have a look at that in a second, Bruce. Oh, whose voice is that? Anyone recognise that? Right, where are we? I'm sure he's done a picture of it. The guy deserves a really big thumbs up. Okay, we'll go and have a look at that in a minute, Bruce. Get off. Right, if we just put this up a minute. We're going to have to watch his advert now, aren't we? Just think of the money he's getting right now. All of that cash. All of that cash. He's going to be loaded by the end of this. How long? Yeah, we'll go past that one. Ash has done a video on it, and it was quicker for me to go to Ash than the Twitter guy. Because I'd prefer to show Ash's than the Twitter guy. Now, this image, if you haven't seen it, there's a great video Ash has done. Please do go check it out. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well. And let me just have a look. It's an interesting one. It is an interesting one. You know, that let me make a full size a minute. you guys can see there. Now, all basically it is an email with an image on. Now, and it's something's been, 12, 20, 20, all looks suspicious. Now, there are a few bits of this, and as I said, before I do, please do check out. Also, ignore the activate Windows message in the bottom corner. I do have a legitimate copy of Windows. It's just I haven't done it on this machine yet because I keep having problems. This is a MacBook Pro running Windows, and I've erased it 3 times in the last 3 months, so I'm not activating at the moment. Now, that's the image which shows what looks to be potentially a Phantom. Quite look with this battery thing down here with this thing and saying 2012, 2020, which will be December. Now, much of this looks like DJI. It really does. When you look at the image, and again, as I said, do check out Ash's video. It very much does look like it. For me, none of this makes any sense. Way too early for this kind of image to be out there right now. Way too early for them. Unless they wanted it to be. I'll park that there a minute. Secondly, that looks how I think a new Phantom could look. Slightly different LEDs, slight different shape, overall slightly sharper. As much as I'd love to sit here and say this isn't legit, I have a feeling it might be. And if I didn't, I probably wouldn't talk about it. I honestly have no info on this one, but it's something that makes a little bit of sense. Now, I think there's a few things now, and there's some things you guys might not know. And whether I probably should say these things or not is another question, but let's go for it. Okay. What you guys may not be aware of is the reason the original the Phantom 4 stopped in the first place. And the reason the Phantom 4 stopped was because the company that manufactured the lens went out of business. Okay, so the Phantom 4 Pro and the X4S are the only 2 models to have a global shutter camera, which means it has a electromechanical shutter. It is the only model from DJI. In fact, it's the only drone to still have one of these today. That is why the Phantom 4 Pro and the Phantom 4 Pro V2 RTK are so popular for mapping, because it has that mechanical global shutter. Now, if you don't really know what a mechanical global shutter is, it physically has a shutter, for starters. There is something that goes in front of it in a drone, but that means it's able to read the entire sensor at the same time. Now, your standard sensor on your drone has no shutter. You've just got the glass looking at the sensor, and what they do is they read it in lines. So it's read across like this. So side to side, side to side, side. So if you were moving and it took a still image, it has to read that sensor very fast. If you're taking an image with, say, 200th of a second shutter speed, it has to read it at that pace, 200th of a second. So it takes 200th of a second to go through. In video, it depends on the frame rate, and then you've got to double it. It's awfully complicated and messy. But the reality is this: it reads it line by line. Now, if you were taking an image of something that was straight, because it's reading it side by side and the drone is moving, your image, your straight item won't be straight. It'll actually be on an angle, or it would be slightly jagged. And that is because even though it's reading it extremely fast, there is still a small amount of movement, and that is what is known as the rolling shutter effect. So the thing is moving, and you'll look at it, and the image is like side on. So if you were to look at railings, if you take some of the Sony cameras and move them side to side, it makes the image wavy and things like that. And it gets all sorts of problems. Rolling shutter, that's the basic. What DJI do is they have a global shutter. So they actually shut the blinds, fire the sensor up in a completely black environment, open it, close it again, boom, job done. But anyway, this camera was the only camera in the industry to have one. Phantom 4 Pro and X4S on the Inspire 2. Sorry, it jumped out my head. Anyway, the reason these two drones disappeared, or these models of cameras disappeared, because the lens was no longer available. The company that made the lens went out of business. That's my understanding. So what then happened was the X4S went out of production first. The Phantom 4 Pro went out of production, and DJI actually stopped production of that to keep production going of the Phantom 4 Pro RTK. Because if you actually remember, the Phantom 4 Pro version 2 stopped production very quickly, and the Phantom 4 Pro RTK carried on for a bit longer. And the reason for that was DJI basically shifted all of their supply to the one product they wanted it to be, which was the Phantom 4 Pro RTK. Now, they ended up buying this lens manufacturer, or the equipment, the tooling, whatever it took. It took them a lot of time to get it all up and working again, as it should be, but they now have that in-house. So whereas before there was a specialist company making this very specialist lens, because it wasn't simple, that lens, it was quite a technical feat in itself. That's why no one else has done it. But they've now ended up buying the company equipment. They've taken control of it. Took them about a year to get it all up and running, but now it is. And that's why you now have the Phantom 4 Pro back in production, because they're able to manufacture the lenses again. And that is the reason for it, as I understand it. Now, it was interesting to everyone that they didn't redesign the aircraft back then, because it was out for production for quite a long time. My understanding is that they basically just wanted to get it up and running as it was, and there was no development really wanted around the aircraft. It was simply about getting the production up and running and seeing how it goes. So they are now in a position, if they wanted to now decide to make a new aircraft. Now, the problem is, though, will it sell enough? And whilst it sells extremely well to surveyors, people doing stuff with Pix4D, any photogrammetry, anything like that, it's whether there's enough market in the traditional drone sense. You know, the Mavic killed the Phantom 4. If we go back, you had the Phantom 3, Phantom 3 Pro, Phantom 2, Vision Plus, Phantom 3, Phantom 3 Pro Advanced, Phantom 3 Pro 4K, and then the Phantom 4, then the Mavic Pro. And the Mavic Pro changed everything. You had basically the Phantom 4 in such a small platform, and it ended the Phantom overnight. And the question will be, is there enough market for it to come back? If it does, it could be substantially dearer. Maybe $2,000 plus just to cover the cost. But as a lot of people are saying, I'll catch up on the comments now, guys. There's I know a lot of agencies, a lot of governments, a lot of business that love the Phantom 4 Pro. Love it to bits. They want them all day long because it's super stable and it does a fantastic job. So I think there's something in this, is where I'm at. I do. I don't think it could be fake. It could be fake. It could be legitimately leaked on purpose. And not that I say DJI have ever done that. But I think there could be something in this. Catching up on the comments. I start on the bottom. Ash ran a poll, and 13% think it's real, and 15% sure I think it's fake. Based on 5 votes. Yeah, see, I don't know. Just as the experience I do have from working in some things and stuff, this one has a bit of a spidey sense feeling on this one. Type of World Fire Department's Phantoms for reliability. They do, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. People love it for that. They really do. It's not a blue UAS and it's too heavy. Yeah. It's a lump of a thing. Cheese. 2 from Astro, a block of cheese. Outdated now, big chunky, not portable. No, exactly. But I have some cracking memories of my Phantoms. I lost one a mile offshore. Wonder how that happens at 400 at line of sight. Ash, I don't see the market appeal. Yeah, and this is the funny thing. I think it's a funny one, isn't it? It is a funny one. People love the aircraft, though. In fact, I will say this. As a commercial operator, or a former commercial operator at this relevant moment in time, because I still haven't renewed, I will be doing it shortly. I could really swap out the Phantom 4, the Inspire 2 for Phantom 4 for 90% of my work. So much easier, so much smaller, does everything every day. Yeah, it'll be before the end of the year. Before the end of the year. I need to finish sorting out that ops manual, Mark. Yeah, you know, I can really see how people would want it. It really is such a bloody good aircraft. X-Jet too skinny. Bruce running should have right. Type E sounds like Tesla, but Jim Casper's. I could have. Yeah. It's a funny one. It really is. Oh yes. Bruce. We need to find this meme now for Bruce. You did. I just need to spend the time doing it. Unless I end up paying someone to do my own ops manual, I'm running out of time. Unfortunately, this bedroom I'm building is taking up all of my time at the moment. It's an interesting one. Ash has got a good video on it worth checking out. Really is. Just don't subscribe to his channel, please. He's too many as it is. No more subscribers. Nope, not allowed. Banned. Yeah, you know, the Phantom. Yeah, it's something actually I need to do in OBS. You're gonna make me do it now, aren't you? He's gonna make me do it. I know what he's doing. I meant to do this the other day, Ash. Actually, YouTube. Let me find my video. Videos live. Does this make good content? I'm waiting for Bruce to say. Chat. You know, it's something I meant to do the other day, Ash, and I completely forgot. Window capture. You're gonna make me do this, aren't you? I need to figure out this all a bit better. Whoa, where's it going? I don't know how that works. How's that looking? This is supposed to be Pepsi Max and Panasonic Lumix. Yeah, that's the sponsored stuff. Needs a drone mic. The chair. So how's that looking now? Is that can you actually read that? I need to find a decent plugin for chat on OBS. I really do. Oh, is it? I've not done it though, are they? Yeah, the easy way to add a browser source to OBS, then copy the chat link. Copy the link from the chat window. Right, let me. Browser source in OBS. Right, okay. See, we're learning, Jays. We're learning. So I'm going to close that. That's gone away. We're going to kill that. Window capture. Just turn that off. Add. So is it browser? Is it browser? Is it browser? Browser source. Add that. Click OK. Oh, lucky duck. It's easy not to like him, isn't it? It's easy to see why we don't like him. And then he's gonna make me know. Oh my god! Oh, I gotta shrink the. Oh, I gotta figure out how to do the aspect now. Oh god, it's all going wrong. I blame Ash. We need to figure out. Right, there you go. Is that better? Should I put with it? I'll put it where it needs to be. With it. No, not that one. Put it there. There we go, guys. That's probably in the right spot for you, right there. You should be absolutely spot on right now. Edit the browser. So, yeah, I know. I got to edit the dimensions, and it's one of those things. Wait. We don't want it 800, do we? We want it 400. And then we want it properties. And then we're going to want it 1920 by 1080. 1080. Oh, nearly there. We can still hear him. Yes, yes, yes. Height should be 19. Oh, it's 1920, isn't it? No, 1080. That should be it. Clearly not big enough. 1300. That's closer. We'll go with that, shall we? How's that? Brought to you by Back of the Head Productions. I'll put you on hold if you want. That should be better. That means then, the only problem is I'm going to have to use something different. Yeah, that sort of works. We do need to do it that way. It's something I needed to sort out. One more thing. Right, but yeah, just one more thing. Try edit the browser source again. Then go to chat. No live stream on Facebook. There should be tonight. All being well, we are live on Facebook as well. I say all being well because I don't trust Facebook as far as I can throw it. Let me just have a look. This is where it gets... Fire up TiVo and let Ash do it. That's a great comment. Yeah, just let him sort it out. Right, Ian, but one more thing to try. Edit the browser source again, then go to... I'm going to have to do this now. See, edit the browser source again. Right, properties. Yeah, right, what's he making me do? We'll get there now. Then go to chat v2. What's he saying? I missed him what he's saying. Should I paint something? Yeah. The browser source again. Edit the browser source again, then go to chat v2. Oh, he's going to a website. Right. Okay, right. Chatv2.com. Yeah, I'm interested now. I see what he's saying. Right, okay. We're not going to get that done today. Okay, that's something I need to play with, Ash. Does it make it come up properly, Ash, then, I'm assuming? Or does it make it all disappear? So, chat v2. I'm going to have a look on this computer now. Any questions, guys, while I get some tech support from Ash? Chat v2 steppers.com. I'm going to open up this website now. It's not pornography. That's a good start. Do it now. It's brilliant. Okay, so he said go to there. Weekly competition gallery. I should... And then copy the whole CSS chunk from the bottom of that window into the browser source. Alright, so commands. So go one more thing. Chatv2steppers.com. I have to go onto this. Right, we're there. www.chatv2steppers.com. Right. And copy the whole CSS chunk from the bottom of that window into the browser source object. This whole at steppers bit? Is that what you're saying? We're going to go browser. I have to scroll down and see what we Set off the lipo in the corner. Yeah, we're there. We'll have to see it. He's making me do it. Right, then copy the whole CSS chunk from the bottom of that window into the browser source object. Whole browser source object. What are you on about, Ash? Are you not into the custom CSS? So on the is that what he's on? Right there. In the browser source object, paste the entire block into custom CSS. Yeah, I thought that's what you meant. Okay. Right, let's have a laugh. Let's see how badly this goes. It looks the same. Oh, wait there. Let me take out what was already in there? Let me do that. No. That's interesting. It didn't do anything. Oh, it didn't do anything on my side. Didn't do anything on my side. That's interesting. Is this version 1 or version 2? Version 2. Yeah. Paste. Yeah, he's up to something. I don't trust him. It doesn't look like it's done anything. Ash normally is. This version 1 and version 2. A4. Not sure on that one. Doesn't seem to be behaving. Strange, just making no difference. I saw it flicker. I did see it flicker. OBS like flickered. Did flicker, which was weird. This is Skin's YouTube chat, so it's transparent colours and themes and stuff. Yeah, it should. Weird. Weird. Make sure I haven't missed anything. Let me just copy it again and do it one more time. We'll go one more. What we'll do, let's just see. It could be because I am live, isn't it? There's a very real possibility it's that. What we'll do is just do one more. Browser. Let's put the source in. Let's go 400 by 1500. And then we'll copy that, paste that across. Click OK. Oh, weird. Oh, we got one more 1200. That's weird. That's weird. That's weird. Strange. I'll have to have a look at that one in more details. The one on the AOL desk. Thank you for keeping yourselves entertained for one moment, gentlemen. I do appreciate that. Ash's fault. Yeah, I do need to do something with the chat. I do know I need to do something with the chat. There needs to be better plugins for them. With the AOL disk. No, I read desk. Help desk. Handcraft your own HTTP commands. Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? That's weird. It might be because I'm live. I wonder if I switch. Once I switch to the no, didn't work. I thought it might work. You've got fail. Yeah, that one didn't work. We're gonna blame Ash for that. Not we're gonna have to search out for not working OBS. Does not work in OBS. Why does it not work in OBS? Let's have a look. There needs to be a you have to change the YouTube URL. Probably have to change the YouTube. 1 second. 1 second. We think we might have it. We might have. It could be if it's saying live YouTube. Oh no, it isn't. 1 second, Ash. Send it to. Oh. Goodbye, Streamlog. Click burp. Yeah, bang, gone. That's weird. Someone did say if it didn't have. We'll see if Ash can make his. He's going to send me his. Now we'll see if that works. Okay. Whilst our technical support desk is waiting to come back to us, I've never met. I need to get this chat sorted. I really do. Email sent. Ooh, we'll check my phone now in a moment. It'll take a second to come through. From a drone point of view, guys, that's been the interesting week. I don't know if you guys have seen anything. If you have seen anything, let me know. Let's just see if Ash's email's arrived. So if it comes on my phone, I'll get it on my computer. Yeah, waiting for it to come through. Oh, I've just had a very nice email from someone, Jeff Becker. It'll take, my email always takes ages unless he's ended up in junk. This will be funny. I have quite a hard junk filter, and it's not Ash specifically. Ash will know what you've got to have a hard junk filter when you run a YouTube channel, because there it is. There's Ash. 1 second. Let me have you got to have it. The amount of stuff you get on email is incredible. It's just ridiculous. He sent me screenshots. I specifically added Ash to my hard junk filter. That's harsh. That's very harsh. Right, okay. I'm going to have to... That's going to take some writing, Ash. Oh, that's a great comment. That really is. Okay, thank you for that, Ash. I'm going to play with that. We need to get that fixed, don't we? We really do. Import URL fonts. So you got the Google ones. I like that. I'm just reading Ash's email. Sorry, guys. This is fantastic content. Okay. Let's just have a... see if there's anyone. It's weird because it should just work. The people are saying down here. Yeah, transparent chat, OBS. Yeah, they're saying it should just work. It should just work. Quite thing. But no, now, from the drone point of view, guys, that really is about all the news I've seen this week. Now, I have, as I said, the setup's changed a little bit this week. I do need to move this around a little bit just to get this all sorted. Time for the Lambo with the loft. I wish the Lambo, the loft was in. I wish the Lambo was in the loft. I wish the loft was in the Lambo. I wish there was a Lambo to have a loft in. I'm just trying to see it. I can't really show you guys. Hey, you guys. Yeah, I can't really show some pictures of the loft because it is coming on actually. It is coming on slowly. We're getting there. We are getting there with it. We will get this chat sorted next week, actually. It's something, it's on my list. Not delivered yet. Porsche, no. The Porsche is on back order, just like the RTX 3090 series and the 3080s. I was annoyed this week, for those of you watching, the 3070's been delayed to the end of the month. Anyone watching the NVIDIA cards, they've delayed the 3070 until after the launch of AMD's, which is going to be interesting. Don't forget, on the 10th, the potential Ryzen 5000 series launch is coming. We're going to have to see what's around the corner. There's been an interesting leaked benchmark on that as well, which is about the some benchmarks for a 5800. So not, I was going to say 4800. Remember, the 4000 series is the mobile CPUs, actually based on Zen 2, not Zen 3. The 5000 series is due to launch, which is always going to be very, very interesting. We're going to then see what next comes from Radeon, whatever AMD have managed to come up with. We're not expecting it for 1 minute to be anything like the new RTX 3000 series. However, it is interesting, if you follow this stuff, that there's people trying to sell 2080 Ti's for like £1,000 right now, when you can get the 3080 for less than that. Well, you can't get it because you can't order it, but you could get it for less than that. They are the new cards. I do need an upgrade because I've only got 6 gig of RAM on mine. I've got a 2060 and I've only got the 6 gig version, and I do want 8 gig. That's about the only issue for me. And I'm thinking of getting a 3070. That's where the base midpoint, because the 3070 is meant to be the same as this year's 2080 Ti, or 2080 at least. It should be around that area. Shouldn't be far off, but it's going to be interesting to see where it does end up. From a news point of view, I think this week that's really been about it. I've still not heard from DJI with regards to purchasing a new wait for the 30 gig. Yeah, and it's going to cost 20 grand, Bruce, as well. I've still not heard from DJI about the RoboMaster EP. They still won't sell me one. This week, what's the date today? The 4th. On the 10th is potentially the launch of a ground-based unit, which I can't talk about. I don't have one on hand. My one hasn't arrived, unfortunately. Don't know if I'm going to get one before whatever it is that I can't talk about. Other than that, I think that is about it. I can't think of anything. This week on the channel, the USB port off and set it on fire with a lipo. Yes, I'll set it on fire. Yes. This week, the meter video is going out on Tuesday. Finally, I got it finished, and sorted. So the meter video is going out Tuesday. And then towards the end of the week or early the week after, the video on the oscilloscope will be going out as well with regards to the probe. How long is the meter video? I gotta stop reading Bruce's comments. It's just safer. I'm gonna unpin Ash's one now because I can unpin that, and then let's pin Bruce's to the top. Replace pin message with how long is the meter video? Yes. And then it's the Ardupilot RC video, and then the other, and then I got to get the CUAV one finished. I'm probably going to have to do that video in 2 parts, because the plan was to put it together and go out and fly, and the weather here is just horrendous at the moment. I don't know what it's like where you guys are. It is shocking. Shocking. It really is. With jokes like that, you can add mid-roll ads. Yes, I still have mid-rolls turned off, Bruce. All good, all staying off, no intention. Before you go, I need to open a live stream. You need to open. Let's have a look. This live stream, Ash, is. Let's have a look. Oh, he sent me a link to this live stream. Does it work on my phone? Oh, I'm going to have to do it over there. With it. Let me go and do it over here. 2 seconds. Actually, let me just get the link up first. So he's got my talk up on his live stream. Oh, what a man. What a man. Yeah, that should work. Send me a copy of that text. Copy and paste it, Ash. It'll save me writing that out. Let's have a look. Let's see, sent over. Oh, it's there. You have added it. 1 second. Let's do it. 1 second. Bloody hell, how big is that? Boom! How is that? I need to adjust the size. Sorted! Look at that! Look at Ash. He's good. See, that's what happens. That's a man, right? Right there is a man that makes an effort. Right there is a man who knows what he's doing. Right there is a man who puts more effort into this than I have. So if you are not subscribed to his channel, please do make sure you do, because the man is outstanding. It's as simple as that. It really is. It's looking like a proper YouTube now. Yeah, look, we've got a proper microphone. We've got a proper... This is all getting a bit naughty. You know, as much as I try, people keep subscribing. We've got to turn it off. Great on my 4-inch screen. That looks cool. Right. You're starting to sound a little gender fluid right now. Behave, you. This is, as I said, Ash is a man who knows what he's doing, and that's probably the right thing. Okay, guys. We've managed... How I managed to drag this one out to an hour and a half, I have no idea. As I said, the videos this week will be the multimeter and the probably the Ardupilot one. Oh yes, that's getting pinned. Yes. Replace pinned message. Ash, the great thing about hand-embedded chat screen is that if you ever edit, trim the live streams, video removes the tray of history, so it's nice to have it fixed to screen too. Yeah, agreed. So it's always there, isn't it? Maybe you could hire someone from Fiverr to host the show. Yeah, okay, come on then. Keep them coming. Come on. Just need to sort the presenter. Yes. How many people are watching this? My God, 13 people still watching this. It always descends into chaos. It really does. We just need to sort of harsh. Very, very true. So true. But very harsh. Anyway, guys, I would like to wish you all a safe week. I hope you and your families are safe wherever you are. Make sure you are staying safe. Make sure that, you know, the world is a little bit crazy at the moment. Please do check out Ash's channel, Gary's channel, Bruce's channel. Check out Bruce's this week for more crazy news around who else he's going to upset around the CAA in New Zealand. I'm going to check out this meme of his in a minute as well. I would like to thank you all for spending a little bit of time with me on a Sunday evening as well. I do massively appreciate it. It is a small community, but it is a community nonetheless. As I said, it's for me, it's just humbling and nice to have some time with people. So otherwise, I'm back into my cage now where the wife keeps me. Anyway, that's the end of it. Thank you for watching. Take it easy, and I will see you guys again Sunday night. Now, I've got to find out now how I turn this off because I haven't hit the right button today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to go into YouTube. Oh, I've closed the window now. Look, see, I can't even turn it off. And the chat is rolling now. Cheers, guys. Stay safe. I will speak to you soon.